We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, and it's the 2018 Scholly Awards. I am your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. To my right is the current reigning and defending Mr. Scholar in the Bank and Scholars of Wrestling champion, Scholar Tarek. How are you doing this evening?
I'm going to let this, just because we are in such a good mood, it's the 5th Scholly Awards.
Good Lord.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. I'm in such a great mood. I'm going to let the fact that you, again, failed on my introduction. But I'm in such a great mood, I'm going to let it slide. 2018, wow, what a year this was. Plenty of ups, plenty of downs, plenty of, oh my God. But all in all, it was a very, very interesting 2018.
Yes, I think we can all agree on that, especially now that the undisputed king of ugly Christmas sweaters is finally back with us. Scholar Brian, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Very well. And in fact, okay, I wear this ugly sweater as a moniker. It shows that even though you might be the champion, okay, no one.
Oh, it's not a might.
No
I am
one.
the champion.
No one wears an ugly sweater better than the master of douchery. No one.
Yes, and there were a lot of bests this year, a whole lot of worse, and oh boy, was there everything in between.
I was hoping you were going to say you're going to just wear that sweater from now on every week.
Don't tempt me. I just might.
Yeah, seriously, there are some things
I'm kind of hoping. It looks good on you. It definitely makes you glow multicolor. I like it.
Yes.
Yes, give a thumbs up if you like his ugly Christmas sweater. But anyway, we got a lot of categories to go through this year.
A lot of categories?
We got a lot of catheters to go through.
I don't like the sound of that.
We're not at New Year's yet, man. You got to cut back on the
Scholly
drinking.
Awards 2018. Let's go. Starting with Superstar of the Year.
We're starting off with the big one.
All right, Champ, would you like to go first? Who do you think is your Superstar of the Year?
When it really came down to my Superstar of the Year, I was just really just looking back on just what matches, how many matches they had, how many great matches. So when it came to the Superstar of the Year, I went for Seth Rollins. Granted, his most recent work is mainly with Dean Ambrose wasn't the best, but it doesn't stop considering the fact of what he went through to try and make Monday Night Raw, Monday Night Rollins, and the perfect example was that gauntlet match that he was a part of where he was in for like an hour and a 2-hour gauntlet match.
That was a ton of fun.
Just I really look back at his past year, and he did a lot of highs. He definitely worked his ass off to make it to remind you who he was and help bring prestige back to the Intercontinental Championship. And for all the people who know me and my love for the IC title, that's a huge up for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, leave it for the Kingslayer to be Superstar of the Year for the Scholars of Wrestling champion.
Yeah, I came close to doing the same thing. However, even though he was undisputably the backbone of Raw for pretty much the entire year, this other person just had way too good of a year, and it was the man's turn to be exactly who she is. There's no way I could give this to anybody other than Becky Lynch. There's certain times when there is a star-making moment that lately WWE has not always capitalized on. See CM Punk, see Braun Strowman, see any number of people, but then Becky Lynch came storming out of the gate and everything came together. This latter part of 2018 was so strong that it made 2018 her year. And if everything goes as planned for the beginning portion of 2019, especially if we get that main event match at WrestleMania that we're all thinking of, I think she could be a strong contender for Superstar of the Year in 2019 as well. But for now, I got to give the nod to Becky Lynch in 2018. You are the man.
She was my number 2, but it's like you said, it was more of the latter half of the year that, like, I'm trying to look back on what she did in the first half, and I couldn't really think of anything until really this, like, July is when they started building for SummerSlam, and then when she just emphasized how much she's been clawing her way to get back. So Becky does have an award, but that's later on for me.
How about you?
I hear you about Seth Rollins. I really do. Okay, but it's one thing to be the backbone of Raw. Okay, it's another to just take over the entire company. And that, whether it happened in the back half of the year or not, okay, the way that, yes, I agree with you, Jeff. I'm also going with Becky Lynch. But the way that she didn't just take over, okay, Seth Rollins also calls himself the man, okay, but people will refuse to call him that because Becky Lynch calls herself that.
Mm-hmm.
She took over the WWE in such a big way that it didn't matter who was in that spot for Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins at TLC. It didn't matter who. It didn't, because all the people wanted to see was Becky Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I definitely, okay, Seth Rollins was in consideration. I also had AJ Styles in there for being able to hold on to the title for most of the year, but his feuds with earlier in the year and the stuff that I didn't like took him out of contention, but he was my number 3. But when I look back...
Wait, who was number 3?
AJ Styles.
AJ, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look back and think about this year, it won't be the year of AJ Styles. It won't be the year of Seth Rollins. It'll be the year that the man took over Raw and SmackDown, and she ain't even on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I just felt like that whole thing was just like, it's like, oh yeah, your opinion was wrong, Tarek. Your suggestion was stupid. It's like, because you didn't choose Becky Lynch, you're an asshole for it. That's how I felt from both of you guys. Like,
not my intention.
Oh my God, guys, I'm not trying to offend. It's just,
no,
sorry.
No,
it's like, I'm not taking anything away from Becky because everything both of you said was absolutely correct.
Yeah,
but I just had to pick Seth because I get it. Maybe just be a bias because of what he did with the Intercontinental Championship.
It's
for
still
me.
Valid.
But yeah, I still back.
I'm sure it sounded like we're calling you an asshole, but I completely get why you would go with Seth Rollins because you're an Intercontinental.
You still think I'm an asshole, though?
Yes, I do.
But not because you picked Seth Rollins.
But for different reasons.
Yes.
But we all know that you're an Intercontinental title whore. So if Seth Rollins bought...
It works for you. It works.
I am a whore for that title.
Because you put the Miz last year.
Won that title,
you put the Miz last year in serious contention only because of what he did with the Intercontinental title last year. Mm-hmm. So I completely expected that Seth Rollins was going to be your pick.
Hell, if Becky Lynch wins the Intercontinental Championship in 2019, I would be. She's automatically a winner. She's a winner in every category for me.
She's the one woman that I can see them at this moment going for men's titles.
Mm-hmm.
just I could see Charlotte doing it too, but the way that Becky Lynch goes in on the men on Twitter as well as the women, I could see all kind. I want to see Becky Lynch versus Seth Rollins. I want it. I need it.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, but I want it.
Like
and
I said, this
need
whole argument with her winning the IC title or her facing any men is out the door because of the WWE's rules.
and because of me too. So
well, then again, who know? A lot can happen in a year, so we'll see.
We'll see.
In the meantime, we also have our next category, which is underused superstar of the year.
You go first, fool.
Okay, and I just gotta go with my boy, King of Strong Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura. If for not necessarily that he was used the worst, but he was definitely the most underused compared to where he was at the beginning of the year with winning the Royal Rumble and all the promise of the dream match with AJ Styles. The feud, I'm not going to say it was bad, but it took a little bit longer to warm up and get to the hype level that everyone thought it was going to be at, and he just sort of took a back seat for the remainder of the year, which is more than I can say for a lot of other people. But even so, it was very disappointing to see where he had come. Even though I'm glad he hit his stride after he turned heel and did a no speak any English, that was good. But even so, it seemed like a lot of things that he was handed were afterthoughts, and that is just a crime for a talent of his caliber.
Quick question: Is he on his way out?
No, nothing's been confirmed yet.
Rumors.
It's just rumors. Okay, because I heard
rumors,
that like he's
rumors
leaving
from NJPW fans.
Okay.
You know them.
Okay.
But the
your turn.
This one is pretty much. It's pretty much obvious to me that, exactly what you said. There was nobody, in my eyes, who was... The way they underused this guy after the hot start that he had at the beginning of the year, it's criminal. Okay? And here's the deal. You say that the feud with AJ Styles wasn't that bad. We all know my thoughts on this feud.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't need any of the extra stuff that they put in this feud. They already had it. NJPW. They had a match. This is a dream match that they had, dream feud, and they fucked it up. They really did. You can try to make allowances for this feud all you want, but fact of the matter is they fucked it up. Because it was one-sided. It was very heavily one-sided to AJ Styles. Okay, and after that, I completely understand why Shinsuke Nakamura's stock fell. Okay, because the WWE made it fall. They had greatness in a bottle after the Royal Rumble. All they had to do, the lead up to WrestleMania was great. Okay? And yeah, Shinsuke Nakamura turned heel and all that was good. But the way that they did the matches and the results, and Shinsuke Nakamura never really got one over on AJ Styles, the man who doesn't know what a cup is, but still ends up winning. So it's and then he wins the United States title and completely disappears off the face of the planet. So it's like underused, barely used. And considering the way he started the year, it's criminal, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him go.
Tarek, who do you think?
He was my number 2. Once again, I'm going. He's my number 2 on this one. The big difference, the reason that he wasn't my number one on this category is because, like, unlike you, in some aspects I was entertained from the storyline of the WWE Championship. He was, like, even though after this feud his stock did drop at a disappointing rate, he, like, when he had his heel turn, he was still very popular with the crowd. He was getting legit either heel heat or good legit cheers from the crowd. And he was still in the WWE title picture. He was still getting opportunity after opportunity. And yes, even though he disappeared after winning the United States Championship, he won the United States Championship. Granted, they did do absolutely nothing with it, but it's still the fact that, yeah, he had a belt, and now he's getting hopefully a decent feud with Rusev for it. But when it came to my pick, it was someone who really was kind of in a mirror situation, especially in the beginning of the year, with winning the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, losing that title match at WrestleMania, and then just losing again and again to Carmella, of all people, making her stock drop at a great rate, to a point where now she was in a point where she was having a tag team with Naomi, to the point where it just made her look like a complete idiot. We're just like, oh my God, there is no hope to saving her. So
and now she's more clear women's champion.
And now, if it's not more clear, it's Asuka. But hey, to be fair,
but we do see the pattern here, right?
Yeah. But to be fair, to be fair, December was a great month for her.
Yes.
In a long line of bullshit, her December was great. Her winning that battle royal, her actually winning. Granted, Ronda Rousey helped her, but it was enough for people to look at her and be like, okay, this is actually slowly starting to resurrect the Empress. Mm-hmm. She's slowly becoming that when she was undefeated again. So hopefully it looks like 2019 is going to be a great year for her.
Yes.
At least that's how it's looking like.
Yes.
But when it came to 2018, and after, she won the Women's Royal Rumble, but after WrestleMania, it was a nosedive. So Asuka was my the underused superstar.
A fair pick.
And do we see the pattern for the underused superstar?
Like I said, Shinsuke was my number two. They were both in the exact same position.
And they're both Japanese.
We're not saying it's racism.
I'm sure that part is just a coincidence, but yeah.
Okay. But we also know.
Anyway, we also know our next topic is Breakout Star of the Year. Brian, you want to kick this one off? Who's your Breakout Star of the Year?
I feel like the pick would be obvious, but I'm going to go against the grain on this one. The obvious pick is Ronda Rousey. The obvious pick. But I'm going to go with someone who technically has been in the company for a while. He hasn't been in the company for a while. And when he came back, he just started beating the shit out of everybody. And got over in a big way. And now he might be feuding with Finn Balor and Dolph Ziggler. But he also is one of the only people to take Braun Strowman off of his feet in one blow. Yeah, I'm going with the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre. Because this dude, starts off as the chosen one. Nobody likes this guy.
Love his theme song, though.
Love his theme song. But no, this was another case of you're trying to push somebody down our throats. We don't even know this guy yet. So, and the crowd and the internet wrestling community once again turned on this guy hard, and some stuff went down in his personal life that made the WWE punish him to the extent of 3MB.
unjust.
And then
unjust.
and then they released him, and then he took off because he did what you're supposed to do when you get fired from your dream job. You go and you better yourself in the same profession, but in the minor leagues, if you will. Okay. Do I think where he wrestled is the minor leagues? Technically, yes, but in his mind, no. He went out there every night like it was a WWE pay-per-view main event. Honed his craft, came back, and now, okay, this dude, I'll say it right now, he's going to be champion at some point next year. On whatever brand he might be on at that point. And I call that a breakout, at least in WWE terms. Because even when he was the chosen one, okay, he wasn't dominant, okay, and nobody really liked his character. He might have been getting okay spots, but for a chosen one gimmick, he wasn't really getting high profile stuff to do. And now while we might be railing on how Raw performs, he's one of the good things on Raw that I look forward to every week, and I expect big things. And yeah, I believe that he broke out this year.
Who you got?
Took the words right out of my mouth. I'm seconding that. This is the. I'm finally seconding one of you. Yeah, I'm also going to go with Drew McIntyre for basically everything he just said. I was thinking of Ronda Rousey too, but in the first half of the year, she was kind of pulling that Brock Lesnar move of not wrestling every show and just she's showing up, but she's not really doing anything.
Yeah.
The latter year, she's now acting more full time.
Yeah, she's 100% there. But before she would wrestle, she'd be good.
But when it comes to Drew, yeah, he's now showing why they called him the chosen one in the beginning. He's definitely evolved. I'm pulling a Pokemon reference for you, fool. He evolved from the chosen one and just dun 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 dun. The chosen one has evolved to the Scottish psychopath.
Da 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 da.
Honestly, I don't think I can say anything more to top that, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm also, with everything he said and what I added to it, and including his Pokemon evolution theme, yeah, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
And hold on,
I can't.
Scholly's quick talk.
Shoot.
If there's a huge WrestleMania match that involves Drew McIntyre, do we hear the old theme song?
No.
No way.
Mm-mm.
Nah.
I want that back. I do.
We're just gonna.
Well,
here, we're gonna. Once we're done with this episode, we'll put it on for nostalgia reasons. Because yes, that theme song was awesome. His chosen one theme, I love it.
But in the meantime, yeah, you peeked at my sheet. I have to go with Ronda Rousey, even though everything you just said was great, and Drew McIntyre was right up there. I have to give Ronda Rousey this just because she has had easily the greatest rookie year in wrestling that I have ever seen.
Can't argue that.
Brock.
It was just so good. I mean,
Okay,
even
maybe
so.
you can't argue
Well, even so,
Fair.
even with Brock, he still went through developmental.
Come on,
He
Brock,
did
Brock in his
all
face.
that. Kurt Angle still more developmental.
My
and,
name's not Todd McCormick.
and even so, it's fairly visible if you read between the lines that the only reason that she worked a limited schedule is because she was still training and sharpening up as she was going. But even while doing that, to have a major mainstream celebrity like that come in and perform like she has, nearly flawlessly, that is not something that just anybody can do. And I would be remiss if even though Drew McIntyre in my eyes is the person who comes closest to that top of the mountain, it's not quite there yet in my eyes, and I have to go with Ronda Rousey.
I do like how everything so far, the person who doesn't go with the group, it's always their second choice.
Well, then again, some of these categories...
Ronda is the second choice.
Some of these categories are so close, and they have people who fit this mold.
Let's face it, okay? The WWE didn't do much to break out new characters this year. So that's
a big criticism that WWE's had for the last couple of years.
Well, yes and no, which I'll get into later. But in the meantime, we also have another category, and that is Tag Team of the Year. Who do you got for this one?
This was this is just...
Say it.
Say it.
What are you expecting me to say?
The Bar.
We are the bar. Wonderful. As much as I want to pick Sheamus and Cesaro, there have been plenty of moments where they were just made to look like complete imbeciles, to the point where, like, losing to Braun Strowman and a 10-year-old at WrestleMania. Oh, that was this year. I forgot.
Losing in a Thanksgiving street fight. Seriously, as much as I would love to pick the love of my life, Cesaro, when it comes, it's really funny because no tag team has really grabbed me that much this year. But if I had to pick a team, I guess I would just have to go with the Usos. They've made them look like they were the lone surviving team at Survivor Series. They've been making great matches with whoever they're working with, either it's the New Day or the Bar. Mm-hmm. And they just made this Usos Asylum gimmick their own, and minus the prison cell door effects that they added that when SmackDown was in that period of silly words popping in promos and closing cage doors.
Silly words.
I'm just gonna go with the Usos. This was just one that's just, in the long run for me, I didn't have anybody that really left that big impact on me for this year.
With me, there's one team, even though they weren't the most undefeated team ever out there, I was still greatly entertained by this team. And I have to go with Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. Just because it was still Woken, Broken Matt, however you want to call him, teaming up with another severely underused wrestler who, again, it just worked. It was fun. It was fun to see them both guys doing something different. So if that for no other reason, I'm going to go with Matt and Brad.
For the first month, sure, but once they brought in the B team, them constantly losing to them, and then that was it because of Matt Hardy's injuries, and that was the end of the tag team.
Mm-hmm. And this is where I go rogue. Go off-road. Because my tag team of the year, WWE did nothing for tag teams for me this year. Like, we had the obvious suspects and all that, and the matches were great because of the obvious suspects. But I gave it to them last year. Okay. And until somebody proves that they're better than them, and because of all the things they also did off screen this year, it's got to be the Young Bucks. Got to be.
I can't argue that.
I mean, like, their part, they helped set up All In. Mm-hmm. Okay, they're going to be a part of this new wrestling federation.
The All Elite. Mm-hmm.
The All Elite. And every time I saw a match of theirs at NJPW, Ring of Honor, any of them, it was fucking awesome off the charts. So until someone comes along that can actually take them off of the pedestal that I put them on, because yeah, there may be spot monkeys, okay, and yeah, they are, okay. They say that they say that they're not, but come on, everybody. But sometimes being a spot monkey is a good thing, okay. And when you're selling yourself the way that they are, when you're people always say being the elite, all the people involved with that should come to the WWE. Why? Because they're the best version of themselves that they can possibly be, and they know that. So keep doing what you do, and you'll be tag team of the year for many years to come, at least in my book. Because right now WWE has no one. Like I mean, like
You can't blame the tag teams. It's the same argument with Asuka. It was the same argument with Nakamura.
Like, they're entertaining enough, but it's the WWE style that makes tag team wrestling hard to get into. Like the matches themselves, always great, from what I saw, but with the comedy and all that stuff and all the shit they've been trying to do to spruce it up, no.
To be fair, if they didn't get injured, my tag team would have easily been the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah.
If Rowan didn't get injured,
Still would have been the Young Bucks for me.
Isn't Harper injured as well?
Now, yeah. Now I think they're waiting because I think they're gonna do something with Wyatt again.
I sincerely hope so. But in the meantime, speaking of, we've got our next category, which is Feud of the Year. I'll tell you what, I had a lot of trouble with this one, so I just went with one of the ones that amused me the most, and that was Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt. That's all I got.
Okay, Brian?
I just loved seeing that same style come back with just the way it came. It came together in a moment that just said not only was it entertaining, but it was also the kind of moment that said, you know what, WWE can put their egos aside and put their resources and focus into doing something that's just plain damn cool. So, yeah, I enjoyed this.
And I will say my feud of the year is the feud that actually put the man over the top. And the feud of the year is easily, for me, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte.
You know what?
Easily.
I'm switching to that, yeah.
Because easily.
Actually, no. I'm going to put, I'm going to put the man versus Ronnie. Do Twitter beefs count? They should.
They
should.
That's
one of
I don't know.
she'll have it to an art form.
They have been putting more emphasis on that, yeah.
Legitimately, okay. She was getting good crowd reactions before SummerSlam. She was getting the best crowd reactions of the women, no doubt. But what put her over the top is when she just completely flipped shit at SummerSlam and just took out Charlotte after Charlotte stole a win for to become champion. And then the next, just all throughout till the end of the year, you had that thing for a little bit going up to Survivor Series where it's like, I know that you're the only one who has a shot to take out Ronda Rousey in my place. So I'm going to give you the match. But when I come back,
I'll give you
we're going right back to what we were doing.
And I'll give you a concussion hug. I like that little Twitter that she's like, I don't know what I was thinking at that, giving her a hug.
This was the antithesis of Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. This, because they were trying so hard a couple years ago to make that the feud of the year. They were trying so hard. That was going to be the feud to put the women on the map for the WWE. No. This is the feud that finally did it. That finally put the women on the map for the WWE and made people stand up and take notice.
I think maybe if Sasha and Charlotte weren't hot potatoing the title so much, I guess it could have been that.
It could have been, but none of them had the momentum
that Becky's got.
And back then, as much as people said they wanted to see it, they didn't want to see it yet. They didn't want to see it with those two. As much as the WWE wanted it to be with those two, they didn't. The crowd was behind Becky Lynch even then, and so there's no doubt in my mind that the feud of the year easily Becky Lynch and Charlotte.
Who do you got?
I'm going down NXT level. I'm picking Ciampa versus Gargano.
Yeah, you got.
I just love their dynamic. They know because they know each other so well. They have great chemistry in the ring, and it was just a great story that they told. It's like it was basically the perfect tag team, one turning on another, and the other one trying to get revenge story. Mm-hmm. It was a very traditional storytelling feud, but it also had the what's the word? Like it felt today. It definitely worked in today's standards. I don't know. And now that with Gargano being turning heel and their possible DIY reunion, it's going to be a very interesting 2019 when it comes to NXT.
Yeah, I definitely can't argue with that.
And we had some very interesting heel turns this year. Just saying. That's it.
There are a lot of heel turns
and
this year.
I'll give you one in my pick for worst feud of the year.
Isn't it Brian's for that one?
Yes.
Yes, and I'm just using that as a segue.
Were you really?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
This was actually...
We got a lot of categories to go through here. We got to keep it moving.
This was actually spoken about earlier in someone else's... Scholly Tarek actually talked about this one earlier. And as I was thinking about what he said, I was like, yeah, that feud was really pretty shitty. And it made this person look like a complete moron, an asshole. Yeah, I'm Carmella versus Asuka. Come on. That's it. Seriously.
Okay.
Asuka is dominant for 4 years. Okay.
You're welcome.
Yeah, she gets beat by Charlotte, which sucks. Which really sucks. But okay, I can understand that. WrestleMania big match feel. I don't like it, but I understand it. Okay, you cannot get me to understand how all of a sudden she lost to Charlotte and now she's the biggest moron on the face of the earth. Gets taken out by James Ellsworth. Twice. Twice. Okay. And I'm okay with Carmella in the spot that she's in now. Okay? Like is a strong word. That's it. I'm okay with the spot she's in now with R-Truth. But those months when she was the champion, okay, I think that Tarek's gonna get on his soapbox about that soon. But I'll keep it simple here, okay? There were plenty of contenders for worst feud of the year, but this was the feud that just made me angry whenever it was on TV.
Tarek? Where are you going to take us?
As much as
I think I just talked him into it.
honestly, as much as I hated that feud. No, I don't think I'm going to be talked into changing any of my selections. But that one came close because I just kept thinking about how angry that feud got me. Well, it wasn't even just the feud; it was just Carmella as champion.
The matches were pretty shit too, and
because it wasn't just Asuka that she was beating, because it was Charlotte as well. So that would just be my if we had a really hated superstar of the year, I think Carmella would have taken that spot for me. But when it came to feud of the year, worst feud of the year, excuse me, I looked at the feud that was building up so much that people actually did want it when they actually hinted at it, and then they just were thinking, no, let's just throw them into Dr. Shelby. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Sasha Banks versus Bayley, because that had so much promise. It had so much build for the first half of the year, and then you throw them in when you actually get that sprinkle of Bayley pretty much pulling a Becky Lynch and snapping and getting the crowd going. Finally, we're actually going to see a Bayley Sasha Banks feud on the main roster, something similar to what we got in NXT. No, let's just throw them into a comedy bit with Dr. Shelby and then make them best friends again. That somewhat hinted at some possible love thing, but
at least
that they also kind of dropped.
At least with Kane and Daniel Bryan and Dr. Shelby, that took place over a couple months.
Yeah,
okay, this was one show,
and then they replaced him with another psychiatrist, and it was okay,
it didn't work.
It didn't work, and then they just dropped that altogether, and then it's Kurt Angle ruined that feud. He really did, and for something that we could have had. Honestly, in my opinion, it could have been Becky Lynch Charlotte level. Maybe not to the full potential, but damn well close to it. Especially with how organic that crowd got when Bayley snapped. So, yeah, I'm going with Sasha and Bayley. But Carmella and Asuka really was close on that one. I will give you that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different, depending on how you look at it, there's a lot of different ways you could go with this. But for this one, the most disappointing one for me was Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley. Just the way it was handled.
His sisters, man!
Does he even have...
Bobby,
does he really have
Bobby
sisters?
Lashley, just right out of the gate, was handled so poorly, and it bled over to everything he touched for the vast majority of the year. Until he got paired with Lio Rush, he was just stinking up the room everywhere he went.
Sure, now he's just showing off his glutes.
Hey, it's better than what he was doing here. I'd rather look at his glutes every single day
than hear him talk about his sisters
and look like a toothless wimp. So, yeah, I'm going Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley for worst feud of the year.
Again, it makes me ask if he even has sisters at all.
I don't even care. What I do care about are the picks for match of the year. So, champ?
Oh, me? Okay.
Yes.
Well, this one's going outside WWE for this one. I even actually rewatched the highlights because I can't find the full match anywhere, and that's going to be Kenny Omega versus Okada. The no time limit, 2 out of 3 falls at Dominion 6.9. I think Dave Meltzer's 7-star rating is more than enough to really talk about how awesome this match was. Yeah. And like I said, I actually rewatched it because I just wanted to get more refreshed on it. Well, the highlights at least. And my God, that really was such a hard-hitting match. It was just so much fun watching. I actually rewatched it. I watched it the highlights twice just because I was just so into it. And Kenny Omega is a superstar. I love Kenny Omega.
I can't argue with that in the slightest. Originally, I was looking strictly to WWE for that. Mm-hmm. For this, if we were looking strictly at WWE, I would have said Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar, just for a myriad of other reasons. But ultimately, yeah, I gotta go with the Omega Okada match, the one that finally saw him crowned
The
champion.
IGWP. Did I say that
IWGP.
right? IWGP. Damn it! I knew I was gonna screw that up.
Either way,
Close.
So either way, we're united in that fact.
I've got a tie.
You got
for two. I've got two matches that actually made me feel. It actually made me feel things while watching them. Okay, first one. Okay, you guys talk about Omega Okada. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go different. Okay, it's still an Omega match, but Omega Jericho, the first one, made just
Again,
that
number 2.
That just made me feel something, because just how brutal that match was, and Chris Jericho said it. It's like, I'm not out here for star ratings. Okay, it's still got 5 stars from Meltzer, but I'm not out here for star ratings. I know I can't go like Okada. Okay, but I can still get this guy over the way that I do in WWE. I can bring my character to a more hardcore, extreme level and still be able to do it on foreign shores. I can still do it. He proved he could still do it. And
There wasn't any doubt in my mind, though.
and yeah, but it just made me feel something.
You are absolutely right.
And NXT Takeover, I forget which one it was. Okay, and I believe it was a last man standing match. It was either last man standing or no holds barred, but Gargano Ciampa for the title.
Why do I feel like they've did I feel like these two have done pretty much everything you could do at this point.
Which one? Which takeover? Yeah. And hell, what was the? I don't even remember the match
I
stipulation.
believe it was last man standing.
They were feud for me. Yet I'm blanking out on this one.
Like, you could pick any match from Gargano versus Ciampa, and it's a match of the year candidate.
Yeah.
Okay, but the one I'm talking about was actually for the title. Like, there was a...
Keep going.
And I really believe it was a last man standing match, because I think Gargano's leg gave out, and Ciampa's just kind of kneeling down, looking at him as the ref counts to 10. But either way, anytime these guys get together in a match, first of all, you know it's going to be the best match on the card, and you can pencil it in for at least consideration for match of the year. But you brought his wife in at the time, okay, and Johnny Gargano, when he's a face,
It was Takeover Brooklyn 4, and it was a last man standing match for the belt.
yeah, and the match was great, and it's like, you thought Gargano was gonna do it. You thought it was his last chance to do it, because I thought, and a lot of people thought, that if Gargano lost, he was going up. If Gargano won, he was going to be champion, and Ciampa was coming up. Neither happened. But
To be fair, yeah, I don't think either of them
the entire
needed to go up.
just the entire 30 minutes that match was on, you were on the edge of your seat. And those were the only two matches that actually made me, like, there were others where it's like, oh, okay, this is good, this is awesome. And then those two were, I am on the edge of my seat, I'm standing up, I'm cheering, and I'm actually into it. And it's been a long time since I've actually been into it. with and those two matches are what did it for me this year.
All right. Now we go from the top of the heap to the absolute bottom. Now, this is worst match of the year. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman. Every single match these two have
just
had,
in general?
Yeah, single time these two have got together for a match, it's always been disappointing, and I just don't. Well, if it's under better circumstances, then maybe I'll see something. But outside of that, this was just disappointing.
You're getting him at Rumble.
Yeah, hopefully in an actual match this time. So I know these guys have it in them, but this year just was not their year as a cohesive unit.
Well, the guys don't like each other, don't they not like each other? So they just don't.
I don't know. I don't really care. Just put on a good match. Be professionals, please.
Well, we know that Brock Lesnar has a problem with that, so. but I'm not gonna go worst match in the way that you think. I'm gonna go the match that disappointed me the most, and it was the one that lost me said championship to Scholly. Carmella versus Asuka. James Ellsworth returns in the Asuka mask. Are you shitting me?
It's another reason to hate Carmella.
Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar at Crown Jewel is the worst match of the year, obviously, easily, no doubt. But I expected that. Okay, I did. It's I knew that Carmella. We all know that Carmella is not the greatest wrestler.
You don't say.
Being partial. Okay, being impartial. She's not the greatest. Okay, but I thought at the time if anybody could pull something out of her, it would have been Asuka. And I was proven wrong.
You
in the process, they brought back our very good buddy, Ratface himself, James Ellsworth.
Ratface?
Fuck off.
Anyway,
that was my fuck off moment of the year.
Mine is also a tie. I have two matches that were just really disappointing, and funny enough, Braun's in one of them, and it's something I mentioned earlier. Braun Strowman and Nicholas versus The Bar for the Raw Tag Team titles at WrestleMania 34. That's all that needs to be said. Most people have fun with it. I just could not, especially when I have the love of my life Cesaro part of the losing part.
Fair enough.
And my second one is something he didn't want at all. Something that was talked about between me and him hardcore on this show. DX versus the Brothers of Destruction at Crown Jewel.
You know what? I'm going to change my vote to that.
But
that was just insulting.
I will give it the caveat.
I won't.
Okay, that quarter of the way through the match, Triple H tore his pec. So that's why I didn't have it in consideration, because of extenuating circumstances. Would it have been the best thing ever? It never would have been the best thing ever. But
at least Shawn Michaels has the brain to realize, yeah, I think we're too old for this shit now.
Yeah.
Like, he had the common sense, but yeah, it's that Saudi Arabia money that got him out of retirement for one match, and thank God it's just one match. I was basically pulling optimism from him. I was thinking maybe nope. And at least they know they can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it mainly it was sad to see.
Yeah, that was the only.
I love all four of those guys.
Yeah.
So it's just seeing them being Danny Glover, just going, ugh, too old for this shit.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't have it in the running was because I knew that Triple H tore his pec. So I knew that the last 15 minutes of that match was bullshit either way.
Mm.
So it's like I didn't put it in contention because I didn't. So it was. Because if Triple H didn't tear his pec, would it have been great? No. Would it have been worst match of the year? No. As much as,
Well, it did. It did for me, and it is for me. At least it tied.
Well, how about a good little palate cleanser right here? Let's talk about pay-per-view of the year. Now, I believe it's your turn.
Is it?
Is it?
Let's see. Who did? Let's see. Worst.
You did worst match of the year
Did you
first?
start the worst?
I
match?
did. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So
Okay. So
you got pay-per-view of the year.
No, hold on. 3, 6, 8. No, it's me.
Oh, your pay-per-view? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, your pay-per-view. What do you got?
Oh, yeah, you did start with the Brock Lesnar Strowman thing. Okay. Okay, so yeah, he's right.
And
I would say All In, but I can't because I didn't watch it. I caught highlights.
Okay.
Fair.
But I'll go with something that a lot of people talk shit about leading up to it, and it actually blew me away when thinking about it. And I'm gonna go with Evolution. Evolution, because you expect greatness from things like WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, which were a couple of my honorable mentions. But this was a test pay-per-view. This was to see if it could actually be done and if it could actually be feasible moving forward. And I think that the ladies did an excellent job of making it so that this pay-per-view is the reason that the women are getting main events on pay-per-views right now. And that's all I need to know. They did well enough on their own pay-per-view that was all women. No men were involved at all. That it gave the WWE confidence that they could lead a pay-per-view main event. And that's good enough for me.
Can't argue that. And most people weren't really looking forward going into it because there was little to no build for the show, but it just proved everyone wrong, and it is a good choice. I actually didn't even think about that for pay-per-view of the year, but unlike what you said earlier, I did watch All In, and I'm gonna go with All In as my pay-per-view of the year. It was a very, very, very good show. It was but slow start, which led to something great. And there really isn't more to say. It just, I'm now really looking forward to this All Elite Pro Wrestling because of All In.
Oh yeah, I gotta go with even though Evolution is absolutely up there, is absolutely a legitimate contender, no matter how you slice it for show of the year. I've got to go with All In above that, for not just for all the reasons you listed, but also because of what it means for the overall health and future of professional wrestling in general. Just to have more places where you can compete and be a star at a high level, it's a perfect place for generating new and exciting things in professional wrestling and new stars. Sure, a lot of them will probably go to WWE at some point, but it also creates a setting where if you don't want to go to the WWE, that is now a viable option for you.
It's another case of a test. This pay-per-view was another test, and it passed with flying colors. If they fucked up even one thing on this pay-per-view, then it would have been written off. But from what I hear and what I understand, the show was almost perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just from this event and just the going forward of All Elite. I have this. I don't know how you guys would feel about this, but in my gut, I feel like once Vince McMahon finally steps down and Triple H is taking full control of WWE, I could see Triple H kind of like reaching out and kind of pulling like the old territorial thing and working like how NJPW and Ring of Honor work together. I can see Triple H taking WWE and reaching out to like Cody Rhodes to be like, "Hey, you want to do some co-branded stuff?" And like it's like All Elite / WWE present
Because Cody Rhodes has the problem with Vince McMahon, right? With the McMahon family.
It's more with Vince because he was in love with that Stardust character, even though Cody was like, can I please just drop it? Vince was like, no. So because Vince McMahon just holds WWE in such high pedestal compared to all the other wrestling companies, and to be fair, you can see why, but the fact that like they're holding themselves on such a high pedestal in comparing to all the other wrestling companies, it would be nice for them to like lower themselves and be like, okay, we are professional wrestling, we are one big family, and it's nice to be like, okay, let's kind of spread out to this family and help make names, not just with WWE but with other wrestling in promotions as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, we need to go back to the dark side one more time. We have to go for worst pay-per-view of the year.
I feel like this is easy.
Is it? Tarek, where are you going with this?
I'm going with Backlash.
Oh. Okay.
All right.
There
Not
wasn't
so easy.
Oh, my bad. Crown Jewel basically it's in its own other category, but when I'm just looking at just pay-per-view all in general, and when I looked at Backlash, it just was nonstop disappointment on every factor. And it's even funny because I know a couple of people who went to that show at Prudential, and just they were saying how like it was the crowd had such high hopes in the beginning, and then it just got sucked away from them throughout the show, and I even felt that when I was watching it. So. Yeah, Backlash was just it was just terrible.
Yeah.
Crown Jewel was a close second to making it the worst pay-per-view, but Crown Jewel has its own category later.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Crown Jewel here just because of how disappointing it is and just how poor-spirited it just felt. It just felt wrong on so many different levels. I didn't want to watch it. I felt like I had to watch it, but I did not enjoy it at all.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Crown Jewel as well. The booking was bad. Horrible decision-making. Shane, really? Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, really? All and everything also... You have to take into account the stigma around the event at that time as well. Like going into it, I don't think anybody really wanted to watch it because of what the message was sent by the WWE. We don't give a shit. Really,
it's actually because of that. It's in a different category that we need to.
I think I know where you're going with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's and the fact that we said, okay, we're gonna sit down and watch it, okay, and then that is what you give us. As it, yeah, you had some good tournament matches, okay, but the way you ended that tournament was asinine. Okay.
To be fair, the tournament itself was asinine.
Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar. Horrible. And I said that I didn't take it into account for worst match of the year due to extenuating circumstances, but yeah, DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. Because of those extenuating circumstances, yeah, not good. So, So everything that you built that pay-per-view around, you fucked up. And you fucked up by actually having the event in the first place. So while I see your other category, and I know what other category that is, I can't let it slide on this either.
Yes.
I was just thinking more on just the pay-per-view itself. And there were, like you said, there were the tournament matches that were actually were pretty good. I was looking at more than just the paper. I was like, when it comes to Crown Jewel, it's more than just the pay-per-view for me. But I'm thinking just strictly the pay-per-view, and yeah, Backlash just left that gross taste in my mouth that not even Crown Jewel pay-per-view wise can
outmask.
Yeah.
Well, on a little bit of another high note, because we like to switch it up on this show, this next category is something that I feel like we might want to talk about maybe retiring next year, just because of what this person pulled off, and this is for the category of Women's Wrestler of the Year, strictly because you cannot put anyone other than Becky Lynch.
No,
if you're putting anyone other than Becky Lynch, you are wrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can just announce. We don't even have to go into this one. The answer is Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Quick as a daisy. Now,
what more could
if you have anybody else as Women's Wrestler of the Year, you're a failure turtle, and you'll be wrong.
It's like Charlotte. No, I'm kidding.
No,
I'm joking.
Get down. That's it.
No,
I just had to pull one of his douche cards out.
Yes. And speaking of douche cards, we have the Need of Clear Liquid Award, which talks about some of the worst moments or matches, whatever, that just makes us need to take an extra sip of the clear liquid just to get the nastiness out of our mouth. Who's up?
Let's
Me.
see.
You're up? Okay. What needed you to take an extra sip of the clear liquid? Just to refresh yourself.
We've already spoke of it. It's everything leading around Crown Jewel. Like need a sip of the clear liquid. I needed the whole damn jug. Let's put it like that. Okay. Everything leading around it with what was going on in Saudi Arabia at the time. Okay? Your fans told you no. Your wrestlers told you no.
Some high executives
told you no. The McMahon family and their bank account says yes. Okay? So, automatically, okay, nobody wants to watch this thing. We do it because of the content of our show. Okay? But if we were not doing this, would we have watched this show?
No.
Honestly.
No. I would not.
Okay?
Hell, I was working
and then
when I had this thing on.
And then, okay, once again, okay, if you do run this show and you make people watch and you do what your as I've said, fans, wrestlers, high executives have told you to fuck off. Okay, you better make this the best damn fucking thing you've ever run. Okay? And what they gave us,
It was a troll show.
and it was 6 hours long. Troll show.
It was... No.
Yeah. I did not need a sip of clear liquid. I got alcohol poisoning off of this shit.
Yeah, it was Crown Jewel in general. Everything around Crown Jewel. Everything with Saudi Arabia, and Vince was just... everything was just pointing at the fact that what the Crown Prince allowed. But we won't go into that. But it was just even to the point where even even the government was trying. It's like, it may have been best if you guys don't really go, and now we have to deal. It's like, no, Vince McMahon. It's like, my bank account is now just having the billions and billions and billions. So, and then because of all the controversy surrounding it, we got, as I called it before, a troll show. We got a pretty good, decent tournament that led to Shane McMahon winning and now giving us pretty much the worst SmackDown feud going on right now. Not even a feud, good SmackDown storyline going on with Shane McMahon and The Miz becoming the besties in the world. You have Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar. And it just takes the Crown Prince money to get Shawn Michaels out of retirement just to show that, yeah, they're too old for this shit. So, like I said, when it was just the pay-per-view, I still thought Backlash was the worst show, but everything around it, this was more than just the pay-per-view, and it was at that point where you were just ashamed to be a WWE fan, not a wrestling fan, a WWE fan for the choices they made, and the fact that we're still getting Saudi Arabia shows from for next year.
Unfortunately, and hopefully...
What's the contract, 10 years?
I don't even remember. The point is, I'm with you all the way. This was just a very, very sour moment on a professional wrestling standpoint. And it was just very mean-spirited. It was just, like I said before, it just felt wrong. But enough of all that negative crap. Now let's get to the You're Welcome Award for the best moment of the year. A highlight, a match, a moment, whatever it is. This is one of those things where you just have to stand up and say, thank you, wrestling, for what you have given us. Now.
Champ closes it. Let's see. I'm gonna go with Cody Rhodes winning the NWA Heavyweight Championship. Just for the whole winning the same championship that his dad won. And just all what he accomplished on the All-In pay-per-view. It was the true feel-good moment for me. It almost made me cry. Just seeing the response that Goldust did in response to it. It just was that ultimate feel-good moment. Granted, it was very short-lived since he lost the belt a short time later.
But it still happened.
But it still happened, and it was that feel-good moment.
Mm-hmm. For me, I'm going to go with another really big feel-good moment, but I'm going to have to go with the clearance of Daniel Bryan. Just to see how shattered he was when he was forced into retirement, only to have him come back in what I can only describe as a medical miracle. It's that, to me, for a myriad of reasons, especially to see where he's at now in the matches we're enjoying, that we don't have to worry about his future. It's just a man who's super talented at his work, who is now free to do it again after thinking he'd lost it all. There are certain times in wrestling where you just can't write or book a good angle, like a good enough angle. This is one of those things where, and those moments where it just transcends wrestling and just makes me love it so much.
This one's actually a little tough for me, because at first I was going to go with my image of the year, which was it started off as something really bad but turned into something like really good when you think about it and what it could mean in the long run. When Nia Jax punched Becky Lynch in the face,
that awesome visual of
of the blood and her just jaw-jacking at the camera, like, this is huge.
He got the Cesaro level erection from that.
But then
I went there.
But then you
He's
think
not
about
it either.
Erections all day. But
now
even though I wasn't around to watch it live, okay, I saw highlights of All In. I saw highlights of it. I couldn't give it best pay-per-view because I didn't watch it live. But I saw highlights, and that everything leading up to it and everything that has come from it. Okay, the day that it happened, there was a feeling in the air for every wrestling fan. Okay, there was a feeling that something special was going down. Whether you were watching it or not. I was not around to actually sit down, pay the money, and watch it. But while it was on, I knew it was on. And there was a feeling, I still had that feeling like something special's happening right now that I'm not a part of. And everything that they accomplished with this show, everything that they're now able to do with this show, making the new wrestling company, and everything that they can do from here on out, it has to be the You're Welcome moment, because All In is going to make wrestling better in the future. And that's all you can ask for. And that's all I can ask for in a You're Welcome type of moment. All In is Cody Rhodes is being the Elite's You're Welcome to all wrestling fans.
Yeah, I certainly can't argue with that. There was a ton of great moments, especially at All In, and just what it meant. Like I said before, with events like All In now possible, the gates are wide open, and there's so much to look forward to. And it's part of what made 2018 such a great year for wrestling. Now, before we go home, I believe you said you had you were practically begging me to get this one last category out for Scholar of the Year.
Hey, if you would have gotten this one, you wouldn't even need any begging to put this on. You just need to work harder. And yes, the same award that gave us this beautiful title, the Scholar of the Year award, once again comes to me, Scholar Tarek. When looking back on all the pay-per-views, let's see, this time, unlike last year, I actually wasn't prepared for... No! Oh, my phone died! Ah! Okay, I actually have the score.
Can't even have a decent phone to tabulate the results.
No, I have... I'll put this in. This has the results too, but I actually do have it in my mind. I have the final scores of 2018 for the Scholars of Wrestling predictions. Me with 116 points. You fool with 106 points. And Brian, you almost topped him with 108 points. Mm-hmm. You guys were so close to beating each other, but not close enough to beating the undisputed Scholar. Once again, I started 2018 as champion. I'm closing 2018 as champion. I was the winning Scholar of the Royal Rumble game. I won the first ever Scholar in the Bank. I am now a 2-time Scholar of the Year. There's just no denying it anymore. I am the undisputed Scholar. I am the best. You guys are continuing to chase your dreams of being the best Scholar. I don't need to chase the dream. I lived the dream. I'm continuing to live the dream. I am the best.
But are you done?
Oh, no. I'm just getting started.
I'm done running your big yapper.
What did I miss?
Nothing and nothing at all.
Oh, you're just missing at the fact that you and him fail in comparison.
You're not in the... Get back in the shot, fool.
Oh, Brian, are you just trying to hide the fact that of the three of us, you are the saddest excuse of the Scholars of Wrestling champion, and of the fact that you are just still unable to continue adding on the achievements that I just keep on collecting for myself?
Do you understand anything he's saying right now?
I'm sorry.
It's just coming out like gibberish, right?
I'm sorry.
Right?
I think.
Right?
I think
I'm sorry.
I can't.
It's okay. It's okay. You know what? The language of a champion is something that people on your lower levels can't understand.
Well, how about this? Okay. A champion on a higher plane of competence doesn't need us plebeians to close out the show with him.
You know what?
Goodbye.
Go on. That just sounds like a butthurt scholar.
Look what you did.
And you know what? Once he actually starts gaining more achievements for himself, he can rebuttal me. But you know what? He can't right now because I have it all. I'm the Scholar of the Year. I'm Mr. Scholar in the Bank. It's just raining down gold for me.
So what you're saying is you like golden showers, do you?
In this situation, yes.
You heard it here first.
I'll take this golden shower. Because it feels so good, doesn't it? It feels so good. And
I'll tell you
but
what.
It's probably so excruciating for you knowing that all of this belongs to me. And there is right now, nothing you can do about it.
Except wait until next month where...
That's why I'm emphasizing right now. All you can do is just feel the golden shower of the undisputed scholar that is Scholar Tarek.
All right.
Oh, doesn't it feel good? This 2018 was the year for Scholar Tarek.
I feel like I need an adult.
I am an adult.
I could have been fooled right there. But in all seriousness, in all complete seriousness, thank you for everyone who has joined us over this past year. Thank you to all the wrestlers and wrestling shows who have made this year a great one for professional wrestling and made it a fun one to compete for everything the Scholars of Wrestling show has to offer. The championships, the beef case, it's made it...
The Schollies.
For all the trash talk, it's been a ton of fun.
Yes,
and it's been every single event has been a ton of fun. The competition's great. The wrestling's even greater. And it's just been an excellent year all the way through. So once again, if you want to join us for the next year, you can find us all across the internet. YouTube, you know what to do. Facebook, run a search for a Scholars of Wrestling show.
Welcome back.
Find us all over Twitter.
Are you done crying from the corner?
At Scholars OW for all the latest wrestling show uploads. Tarek, where can he reach you?
You can reach me at the Avataric.
Brian, where can he reach you?
You can find me crying tears of agony into my beer at Atomic Beanpole.
You can find me at I'm Robbie Rage. Join us next year. Thank you.
Yeah. Next episode is next year.
Yeah, join us for next year for a new round of adventures. And thank you all so much for joining us on this crazy, wacky adventure. Because, let's face it, if you've been watching us, you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled.
You're welcome.
Thank you all. See you all in 2019.